If you're thinking about moving to Edmonton in 2026, this video might literally save you from hating your decision. People see the cheaper houses, the beautiful river valley, all those TikToks and Instagram reels about Alberta, and then they get here and realize no one told them about the real winter, the car situation, how spread out everything is, and what safety actually feels like here. In this video, I'm breaking down 7 things you must know before moving to Edmonton, Alberta, so you can decide if this is actually really right move for you or your family. My name is Serhii Titovskyi. I'm a real estate agent in Edmonton and greater area. On this channel, I help people to buy, sell, or relocate to Edmonton with no fake information or sugarcoating with those Instagram reels or TikTok shorts. If you're planning to move to Edmonton in 2026 and you want help choosing the right area, understand prices, and not overpaying for a house, there's going to be a link in the description where you can book a free Zoom consultation with me about your relocation to Edmonton. Let's start with the one that nobody can escape: winter. Winter in Alberta, and Edmonton specifically, is a huge topic. People can talk about winter for hours, but let's just cut straight to the point. On Google Maps or on those weather forecast apps, it says cold, but it's freaking freezing cold. It can be up to -40 to -50 for a week or 2 or 3 weeks straight as a cold snap. You wouldn't see that in Toronto or BC. You're probably gonna see snow on the ground for at least 4, 5, or maybe even 6 months. Usually winter starts roughly September and can end late May. For those of you who are actually relocating from Toronto or BC and never live in such bad weather conditions, specifically in winter, what it means for you: you will need winter tires, proper winter jacket, proper boots, gloves, and all that winter equipment. And if you drive in your car from BC or Toronto to Alberta, you may need a small modification to survive in winter. The very least one is gonna be block heater. A friend of mine moved from Toronto to Edmonton and he had Tesla Model Y, full electric car. He loved it, but after a year driving in this winter condition, he actually traded in for another gas vehicle. My point here, if you're coming from Toronto or BC where there are a lot of electric cars, you're not gonna see even close as much as you're gonna see there. Electric cars do not really survive here a lot. The good news is that Edmonton is actually one of the sunniest cities in Canada. So even when it's cold, it doesn't feel gray and depressing every day. And if you absolutely hate the idea of real winter and you're never gonna go skating, skiing, or at least walking in the snow, Edmonton might be a hard adjustment for you. So number 2 is going to be job market and economy in Edmonton itself specifically. So before you're going to move, you're going to need to understand how you're going to be making money to survive, right? Edmonton economy is more than just construction, oil field, and gas field right now, but they still play a significant role in finding the job. We also do see a huge increase in public sector like government roles, healthcare, and education. Especially healthcare and education. You can see right now people that are on the wait list to get their family doctor for a year or 2. If you happen to had an emergency and you need to see the doctor right away, go into that emergency center. If it's not life-threatening, you can be there waiting for 3, 5, 7, 10, 11 hours till you're gonna be seen. So if you're moving from Toronto or BC, salaries and opportunities can look different. Sometimes even lower pay, but also much lower housing cost, so the lifestyle can still be better. My advice to all people who are watching this and to all my clients who are relocating: never move blindly. Next one is transportation. Edmonton does have buses and LRT, but honestly this is a car city for most people. If you live right downtown or literally on the LRT line, you can survive without the car if you're just going to work and back home. But if you're in a typical family area like near suburbs, communities just outside of the core, you almost always want at least one vehicle in your family. What it actually means: budget for a car payment, gas, insurance, Winter tires are not optional here. It's actually a safety concern in Alberta. And your daily life, groceries, kids, activities, work will likely involve driving. So be prepared to have at least one car in your family. One thing that surprised a lot of people from Vancouver or BC is how actually spread out Edmonton is. If you're gonna look on the map, it doesn't look that big, but actually from point A to point B it may take you 30 to 40 minutes. And in average, people in Edmonton are assuming roughly 20 to 30-minute drive to their work. And also, a lot of people do not like to live in Edmonton itself, so they like to move close to Edmonton, like Atchison, Spruce Grove, St. Albert, Sherwood Park, Beaumont, or like Leduc. It's 15-20 minute drive to city, right, to the Anthony Handy. And basically at that point you won't be able to do anything without the car, right? Beaumont, Nisku, Devon, all these small cities close to Edmonton is actually having high demand from people who are actually relocating, because those neighborhoods are pretty quiet and family oriented, and also they do have a lot of amenities in those areas, especially if you're going to talk about St. Albert and Sherwood Park. It's actually kind of another city. They do not have really a lot of buses and LRTs going to the city itself. And the city is done the way that if you're gonna see, there is a big circle that's called like Anthony Handy, and you're gonna be doing a lot of your traveling through the city by this Anthony Handy or like Yellowhead, just cause it's pretty convenient that you go to Anthony Handy, then like 15-20 minute drive with speed limit 110, and you're where you need to be, instead of going through the whole city itself. And also Edmonton infrastructure is done pretty simple and easy, that it's easy to understand how to go and where to go. There's going to be two main like highways, like Yellowhead over here, Anthony Handy, and they go through the entire city. Other than that, it just made as a block structure kind of thing, and pretty easy to navigate. Another one is safety. People ask me all the time, is Edmonton safe or not? The honest answer, it depends where you are and what your expectations are. Like any city, Edmonton has areas with more visible social issues like homelessness, addictions, property crimes, and very quiet family-oriented neighborhoods where people walk dogs at night and kids ride bikes and everything is good. But in comparison with other big cities like Calgary, Vancouver, and Toronto, in Edmonton you're actually going to face much more homeless people than there. And that is actually a struggle that Edmonton has to fight with, because there are a lot of shelters right in the downtown of city. And that's the reason why a lot of people don't really want to live in downtown itself, only if it's super convenient for them to commute to work, is because they don't really want to have their kids walking towards schools or taking LRTs where they see a lot of homeless people and drug addiction people sleep in those LRT stations and all the stuff. And the key is not actually picking the neighborhood just by looking at the house pictures or MLS. You need to see a lot of contacts like schools, healthcare, like dentals, hospitals, groceries. Now let's talk about one of the biggest Edmonton's pros, lifestyle and nature. Edmonton has a massive river valley system, essentially a huge park network that cuts right through the city. In summer, you've got a lot of biking, walking, running trails, dog parks, viewpoints, picnic areas, festivals, patios, farmer markets. And with the big amount of newcomers that are coming from Toronto and BC, our festivals are getting much bigger and much nicer. We do get a lot of big artists in our city with their concerts. In winter, people don't just hide at home either. We do have a lot of outdoor skating, skiing, a lot of winter festivals. If you enjoy being outside and you're willing to dress for the weather, the quality of life here can be really, really good. Finally, community. Edmonton is a very mixed city. Lots of Canadians from other provinces, plus immigrants and newcomers from all over the world. You'll find a lot of cultural festivals here that are getting bigger and nicer. You're gonna find a lot of community leagues, sport leagues, gyms, churches, hobby groups. And a lot of my clients come here knowing no one. And a year later, they're like, we can't imagine leaving now. So after all of that, who is Edmonton actually good for? Edmonton makes a lot of sense if you want a more space and a real house, not just a tiny condo. If you're okay with owning a car and driving in winter, and if you're actually ready for a real Canadian winter, but want lots of sunshine and a huge amount of nature around you. But it might not be the best fit if you want a warm climate year-round, if you do not really want to own and drive a car, and if you want a very dense, walkable, always busy tourist city vibe. The goal of this video is not to sell you on Edmonton, is to help you make the right decision for you. So if you're planning a move to Edmonton in 2026 and you want someone on the ground to help you choose the right area, understand the market, and find a home that actually fits your life, hit the link in the description and book a free 30-minute Zoom call with me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.